Howdy, Full Metal Cowboy, straight shooting a review of the film Child's Play. This is the one that started the Child's Play franchise, ladies and gentlemen. This film introduced us to our favorite killer doll, Chucky. Let me get this out of the way. Brad Dourif sells this film. He is the sole reason why anyone should watch Child's Play. Because not only is he fun to watch, he is the reason why Chucky stands out amongst horror fans. And what's great about Brad Dourif as Chucky is that this is definitely a dedicated role for Brad Dourif himself. And I say this because even in the weaker films in the Child's Play franchise, have Brad Dourif being the best part about them. That also means that Brad Dourif was also the best part of that one sequel with the creepy doll that literally came out of Chucky. Remember that. Obviously, I am not noting the 2019 remake in this regard because Mark Hamill voiced Chucky, not Brad Dourif. For a film that was released in 1988 and also featuring a killer doll, I found the effects convincing for their time. Now, clearly there are shortcuts taken in regards to Chucky himself, but they are done in a way that I actually think that the people behind Child's Play had fun making this kind of film. Now, while the concept of a killer doll sounds ridiculous, I actually had fun with the idea of a killer doll. At least it's something that not many people bring up. And the explanation to get around the concept of a killer doll is voodoo magic. Yeah. During the first 5 minutes, we see a serial killer being chased by the police. He does end up getting wounded, and he performs voodoo magic on a doll. And this leads into Chucky the Killer Doll. Ridiculous? Sure. But I find this creative, and I do like the first 5 minutes taking the time to show what leads into Chucky the Killer Doll. I think it's a better setup than Goosebumps introducing the reader or viewer to a certain dummy. And I can speak from my experience with the Goosebumps television show. When this dummy gets introduced, there are signs that he's not just a normal dummy within 5 minutes, but given Goosebumps' nature, obviously that dummy wasn't going to be normal even with his first appearance. Now sure, Child's Play and Goosebumps are two completely different beasts. Goosebumps is for kids. Child's Play is not. And what I find funny about Goosebumps and Child's Play is that they actually do have one thing in common. There is an episode of Goosebumps called Bride of the Living Dummy. Child's Play had a later installment called Bride of Chucky. And what's even crazier is that the Goosebumps book, Bride of the Living Dummy, the episode it adapted from, and the film Bride of Chucky were all released in 1998. Holy shit! I'm just glad that Goosebumps is a children's horror franchise because we don't get an equivalent of the sequel to Bride of Chucky within Goosebumps. And thank God for that. Because imagine a story called Seed of the Living Dummy. No! Child's Play definitely has a few other notable actors worth pointing out, and one of them did appear later in the Child's Play franchise, such as Alex Vincent, who plays 6-year-old Andy Barclay in the original Child's Play. For a child actor, then, I thought his performance was fine. Now, as for Catherine Hicks, I recall her being in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. And yes, I know she is in Seventh Heaven, but I've never seen that show, so I can't speak for my experience with Seventh Heaven. But I can speak for my thoughts on her in Star Trek IV. And to give you the long story short, I enjoyed her performance in Star Trek IV, and the same applies to Child's Play. I thought she was fine as well. Child's Play really doesn't have the best acting in the world, and for a film like Child's Play, it doesn't have to have the best acting available. I actually don't have much of an issue with the acting, I just think it's okay. And I decided to check on who directed it, and I found out it was Tom Holland, not to be confused with the actor of the same name who is best known for playing Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is a completely different Tom Holland. And even though I really like Brad Dourif in Child's Play, I will admit there is one line I do kind of make fun of. Oh my god, I'm dying.
Oh god, I'm dying.
By far, one of my favorite lines from Chucky, which is also one of my favorite scenes in Child's Play, involves an elevator where an elderly woman calls Chucky an ugly doll. And as the elderly woman left the elevator, Chucky replies, "Fuck you!" I busted out laughing.
Ugly doll.
Fuck you.
Well, John, it's been fun, but I gotta go. I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
Sweet Jesus.
At the end of the day, Child's Play is not a horror masterpiece, but it doesn't have to be. Child's Play knows it is having fun, and I admire Child's Play for doing it. And of course, it led into sequels. Some I like, some I don't care for. But I'll talk about those later this month. I'm going to be shooting a 7.5 out of 10 for Child's Play. Stay tuned next week for my reviews of Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3. I'll be reloading for my next review, so until then, see ya, friend!